welcome to another episode of Cigars and Taxes. We have your beautiful host here, Stacey Hoffler-Smith, IRS enrolled agent, partner at Hoffler-Smith Financial Services. You have myself also, Layton Smith. I'm also an EA and a partner of Hoffler-Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Cigars and Taxes, where we bring you a unique blend of tax and accounting information mixed with very good beverage and very good cigar. This is odd. We got to turn off the air. There we go. All right, we ready now. We're not even going to re-record that. We're just going to leave that in there.
It's fine. It's fine.
So for our folks that's watching this on YouTube, you got to just see me take the remote and turn off the air. It blows, and we pick up all this extra sound on our microphones.
And that way we can keep our podcast production team happy
Yes, they hate that extra
by
sound.
reducing the extra background noise. So if I start fanning, then you know why.
Oh, there it is. There it is. So today we are talking about
tax implications for withdrawing from your retirement account early.
Ah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the fortunate pleasure of having Miss Stacey here, who is a walking tax encyclopedia, just like her daddy, Charles Hoffler. They just keep all of that on the top of their head. And you have myself also, which I'll be here to bring a little bit of lightness to the conversation and examples of odd clients.
Sure. So I think we should mention too that we do have a firm. You did say that.
Yes, Hoffler-Smith Financial Services.
And we focus on tax resolution and tax planning. How do you normally say it?
Oh, see, we'll get those other accountants. They get all finicky and funny with the wording. So our firm, in fact, focuses on tax mitigation and tax representation.
Yeah.
Yes. They get funny. You say resolution, and they're like, oh, yeah, those are people that don't have credentials or something. We ain't saying that's some other cats.
Correct.
But all that being said and done.
Individuals who have tax problems.
Yes. From
audits to multiple years that are unfiled to an exorbitant amount of a tax balance to IRS, state, or local, we can help.
Yes. So, as I said, we have the walking encyclopedia here, and I bring a unique perspective. We're both accountants. I am also a burn survivor and an amputee, recently as of an accident a year ago. So I believe what I bring, even before the accident, is a strong sense of accounting and tax knowledge and the ability to overcome challenges, obstacles, which we use day to day in this particular practice with these clients. How do we overcome these obstacles? How do we win?
Yeah.
That's
to be fair, I feel like you've had that for a minute.
Oh, really?
Before the accident. One of the things that our clients often is that we fight. We fight for them.
That's right.
And we're not intimidated. Now, obviously, you have to fight on the grounds and the way the IRC is written, but we work to make sure that you get an outcome that's decent or one that's
fair,
better than what you would have if you did not.
All right. So, as always, disclaimer. This information that we're going to be providing today on this particular topic is meant for information purposes. It's meant for us to have a little bit of fun with this conversation. It's meant to be informal. Anything you hear that you believe might be attributable to your tax situation, please talk to your financial advisor, your tax attorney. Run these theories past them. Make sure that these can work for you in your particular situation.
Absolutely.
Yes. And as always, we are here. This is Cigars and Taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to talk about one of the fun parts. We have these conversations while we are normally sitting in a cigar lounge, have somebody walk up on us with a question, and we have our stick and we have our beverage. And today, what are you drinking on? It's something chocolatey again.
I like my espresso martini.
Espresso martinis. I think
my Kettle One espresso martini.
Last 3-4 episodes we've had espresso martinis. All right, good stuff. And you're smoking on what today?
I am smoking on a leather rose from the wonderful family of
I'm not sure. What is it?
yeah. No, it's so I go through
Oh,
the
these are like
fat
the
bottom
fat bottom Betty
Betties. Yes, leather rose
Deadwood.
is
Okay,
another one in
that's interesting.
in
Good
that
stuff.
series. Mhm.
All right,
So,
I have Balvenie 12 triple wood today
oh, thank
in
you.
a Summers Point Cigar Lounge glass.
Oh,
We
do
would like
you?
to thank Steve and Jackie, owners of Summer Point Cigar Lounge, for allowing us to use this facility to record our podcast.
Absolutely.
Anytime
Absolutely.
you're in Summers Point, Atlantic City area, please stop past and see them. We are going to do a recording of a walkthrough of the lounge briefly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And that'll be fun. So you can get a good sense of what it's like in here. Right now, we're upstairs, and this is the area where they play cards and pool. That's
Yeah.
that.
The private,
And
the
smoke
VIP lounge.
their
Yes.
cigars.
The
So,
VIP lounge. And I have my Balvenie. And today I'm smoking on a new cigar, actually. It's made by Caldwell. It's called Long Live the Queen.
oh, that one. That's what you
Yes, yes,
have.
with
I
the
love it.
really gorgeous pictures, not Cleopatra, but just a gorgeous woman
Yes. Okay.
that's on here. I love this. So I downstairs in the main lounge here, Summers Point Cigar Lounge, they had it on their big screen, the release of this cigar,
Mhm.
and the wrapping looked extraordinary. I love the label. I think it's just beautiful. Create some cigars. We're going to use our little cigar tax logo, but I think it'd be cool. We get a nice picture of you and throw it right on the front like that.
Hey,
There it is.
then there'll be two cigars out there with a black female on the label.
There it
How
is.
about
It
that?
might be more than that.
That might be
I
more.
haven't seen them though. But anyway, all right.
Okay.
So I think we've done the housekeeping. We gave the disclaimer. Let's get started. What are we talking about again?
We are talking about tax implications when you withdraw from your retirement account early.
Okay, good
Okay.
stuff.
All right.
All right, jump in it.
Okay. So the scenario is normally that for whatever reason let's say you have 50,000 in your retirement account, and let's just say it's a 401k, and you decide that you're either, I don't know, redoing the house, buying a car, something that's a larger purchase that you feel like you want to take some of those funds out.
We have hardship.
And you have a hardship.
Yes.
I've seen people take it out to make a significant payment on student loan or education. So either one of those two.
Yeah, those are hard ones there.
Those are hard ones.
Yeah,
But
there's no exception for that.
no exceptions for those. So what happens, the way it's treated is, particularly for a 401k, if you have those funds going into that account, that accumulation of that 50,000, it's happening as a pre-tax deduction out of your pay, every paycheck. So you're getting that benefit. The idea is supposed to be that you wait till you are 59 and a half to start taking disbursement. When you take it out early, because you need it, you have bills to pay, you have things that you're trying to do, you do have to pay a penalty on it, and 10%.
But let's give a little bit more context around that.
Okay.
So there's two different ones here. So you have your 401k, and we're talking about pulling money out of retirement early. So let's give some age limitations in there. 401k is normally 65 or whatever the plan says. Okay, your age is to pull those funds out. IRAs are normally the 59 and a half. Okay. And when we get these questions, it's a lot of times it's after the fact.
After the fact.
Yeah. The client has already pulled the money out and they're coming in. So let's just give you an example. Client walks in the office and let's just say they earn about 50,000 a year. Okay. And they just pulled 100 grand out of their 401k. And they're like, I paid taxes on it already. And what they have is they had 10% taken out.
Right.
Okay. So let's just look at it this way. If the 12% tax bracket, which means you make it, 11,000 through 50 grand, and you're in a 12% tax bracket, they turn around and they take 100,000 out of their pension.
Wow.
Okay. And now all of a sudden they are in the 22% bracket.
Mm,
And they walk in and they're saying, hey, but I had taxes taken out. No, you had 10% taken out. Okay.
mhm.
You have a 10% penalty. If there's no exceptions that'll apply when you take that money out. Not we're jumping a little bit
Right.
ahead of where we should be. When we get these questions in, it's because let's just say they earned 50, they took out 100, they're saying they paid taxes and they're just wrong. They paid the penalty. Okay. They took out 100, they paid $10,000. That's the penalty. Now, that 100,000 plus the 50 that they earned from wages is now it's not the whole amount, that 150, excluding any other reductions to get to your adjusted gross income, is going to be taxed in the 22% bracket instead of the 12. So it's not just the 100 that's going to be taxed at that in the 22 bracket. It's also the 50. And what happens is they owe more taxes. There's really no real way around that outside of if one of those exceptions apply, which is medical exception. I see you waving at me, but let's jump into medical exception,
Mhm.
hardship, like you're about to lose your home.
Mhm.
And there's a few other ones that
Mhm.
I'm sure you have on that list right there.
Sure.
But
Those are the
those are
biggies,
the,
so
that's
yeah.
it. And so that is the scenario where we normally get this question.
Right.
We get folks that come in the office and they've tried to pull their own tax return together and they owe $8, $9, $12,000. And then
Mhm.
we have to explain to them how this actually works, that because this is after the fact, there was no planning done ahead of time.
Mhm.
Jumping a little bit more here too, but when
Mhm.
Stacey's normally planning with these folks, what she's normally doing is she's telling them, all right, this is the tax bracket that you're in. If you don't need to take the full amount right now, maybe by the end of the year, you can take this amount out that will allow you to stay in that same tax bracket. And then the beginning of the next year, you can strategically take out the rest of the money that you need. That's if it's not a complete hardship.
Oh,
Medical issues and destruction of the home, stuff like that,
mhm.
or eviction is a one, or foreclosure, stuff, those items. So we didn't jump all around on this topic, and it's only been a couple minutes.
I
Let's go
want to
ahead.
mention something, if I may,
Sure.
and I'm reiterating something that you said, but I'm doing so because when we're in person talking to individuals,
Mm-hmm.
this seems to be a hard point to grab. I have certainly had individuals who have come in and gotten their taxes done as normal, and they come to us with a letter saying that they didn't file that amount, that 100,000 in your example, and
I
they
haven't
say,
seen too much of that.
"Oh, I have,
Oh
I
my
have,"
God,
and
that's
they say, "Well,
hilarious.
I thought I didn't have to file it because I took the 10% out. I had the taxes taken out on it already." And I just
No,
want to,
that just sounds wonderful.
I just,
Like I had the taxes taken out already. I didn't even think I had to include this
yeah,
on the return.
I literally have had that
And
a
then we're
few
just
times. I wouldn't say that it's every year, but it's enough where, and I've also had discussions where people were thinking like that, so we have to correct it. So I
but
just want
the
to,
funny thing is with me, as soon as you say something like that to me, I'm just gonna look at you and be like, "You serious, right? That shit you just said out your mouth, that makes sense to you? Okay, I
so
need a
I,
drink before we jump into this."
so
Those
I
are my
just
words.
want to reiterate that once you take those funds out, and honestly, whether it's tax or whether it's before retirement age or after retirement age, that amount, if it's a 401k,
Mhm.
50,000 was your regular salary, 100,000 was a disbursement from your retirement. Your income is now 150,
For that tax year.
for that tax year. Okay. Typically, you will have only had enough taxes taken out throughout the year from your paycheck to cover that 50,000,
Yes.
not 150. Okay, so the 10% that you may have taken out, that knee jerk people will say, "Oh yeah, I'll have taxes taken out," and typically it's at 10%. That 10% does nothing almost for the additional 100,000 that is now part of your income.
It covers the penalty.
It
It
covers
covers the
the
10%
penalty
penalty.
only.
Yes.
So one, you would need to take out a
More.
little more,
Yeah.
you know, and I normally tell clients if I'm being asked ahead of time, because that's key. Like you said, oftentimes we're hearing this after the fact. But if I'm being asked ahead of time, I would usually suggest that you take out 20%, depending on their income, 20%, 25 or 30, depending on their income, if you can stand it. Okay? Because that's the thing. If you're taking the money out, you have it earmarked for something. In most cases, you're not just taking it out because, I don't know.
So the funny
For
thing here
frivolous,
is
you know?
Stacey can have that conversation with her clients, which is, listen, you're going to pull this money out. I recommend you just take out, have withheld 20, 25%, something along those
Yeah.
lines.
And some people will tell me,
My
well,
clients,
I,
no.
well,
I just know they took it out after the fact. There ain't no
they
conversation.
will ask. And very often, if they're asking and they're considering it, I will look at their most recent tax return and look at what it will look like if you had that additional income in the mix.
But we're
And we
also
can,
talking about planning now.
this is
So
planning,
Stacey is
but
talking about tax planning and tax mitigation. It's not exactly the topic. I got what you're saying. That's how you deal with
we're
those
talking
clients.
about how
Yes.
to address this taking the distribution out, what the impact is, and how you can lessen the impact. Some of that is after the fact, some of that is before. So what I'm talking about right now is before.
That's true.
And so that's so just throwing that out there and just making sure that we're crystal clear on this is all income now, and not only are you increasing your income from your normal $50,000 salary to $150,000 for the year. Now you're in a different tax bracket, and you mentioned that.
That's it.
And that's why it's not. I've also had people after the fact saying, "Oh, I got a letter saying I didn't include this amount, and I've never made 100-something thousand in a year." And no, you didn't make it per se, but it was income for you.
That's your taxable income.
Exactly.
All right. So let's focus
Go
on
ahead.
the exceptions to the penalty.
Sure.
All right. So we have the medical.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pull from your retirement because of medical costs.
Mm-hmm.
I might be the poster boy for that with my accident last year with my little bionic foot and everything I have now.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had pulled from the retirement account,
Mm-hmm.
I would have had an exception to the penalty because I could show it was used to cover out-of-pocket medical costs. All right. That's one. Higher education. I can be the poster boy for that too. We have 3 children, 25, 24, and 23. We got one joker that he's over there. I'm just paying attention. Just graduated from Rutgers, and I love that kid. He's an accounting major also. He's actually going to work next month, this month,
September.
in New York
September
at one of
1st.
there's only big 3 now accounting firms, right?
Yeah, I don't
But
think
he's
there's.
at one of the big 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby boy, he's doing it.
Mhm.
And we have our youngest baby who just graduated also in environmental science. And we have our oldest baby who is now in medical school. So yes,
And
we could
Pittsburgh.
have pulled
Yeah.
all kinds of money out and we would have fallen under those exceptions with higher education.
A whole lot of other things that would have happened.
That's it. But also if first time home buyers, there's an exception there. And then hardship. So your foreclosure, eviction, that's you can use that as an exception for the 10% penalty too. Now it doesn't
Go
it
ahead.
doesn't get rid of ordinary taxes. It's an exception on the 10% penalty.
That's
Yes,
it.
I am hollering at you. All right, because you need to get that point. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No,
It's
where
only the 10%
it's
penalty.
being emphasized because in our experience,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be emphasized. And I think that's the whole point of us being here right now is to help clarify in a way that hopefully makes sense. Nobody likes to be blindsided. And if you already know, okay, look, dang, I took out this 100,000. I'm gonna get really hit with taxes on this versus, hey, I took out this 100,000, but I bought a house, so I'm good. No.
No, 'cause that was your 5th house. You're not a first time
No,
home
that's not
buyer.
good. That helps you on the 10%. It's not going to help you on that being an additional amount to your normal.
No, that was the
taxable
5th
income.
house. That
That won't help
don't
either.
that don't
Right.
account either.
Exactly.
So you just getting hit.
So it
But
just helps them to be able to know and again plan,
that's it.
plan.
All right.
Okay,
Where we're
so
at.
you said I'm just making sure that we hit everything higher.
You
Then
know what?
purchasing
While
good
we're taking
phone.
this moment to
Okay,
just
yeah.
relax a little bit and
Mhm.
refocus, always great. And even when we sit in the cigar lounge, we take another sip, take another puff. This is actually a very good cigar. It's a full body cigar, only in it. Beautiful wrapper, Long Live the Queen by Caldwell. Only problem I have with it is flipping back is unraveling on me, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. I really want to enjoy this, but the back's unraveling. Oh, PSA,
Yes.
public service announcement for all you smokers out there. So, when you're smoking and you're talking, one of the most irritating things outside of your cigar unraveling on you is when you have somebody sitting there and they're talking and they have their cigar kind of unraveling their mouth a little bit and they start spitting to the side. Don't do that.
Yes.
Don't do that. Now, I will be honest. I'll tell you, after about my third glass of scotch, I am a spitter. Not a horrible spitter every now and again. But I try to catch myself every time I do it. And I just say, be a better smoker.
Mm.
Be a better brother of the leaf. Do not spit when you smoke.
Yeah.
And it
How
can
long
be
does that last?
to the next sip. To the next sip. All right. All right. All right. Let's
All right.
refocus here. All right. So we
Okay.
just talked about the exceptions to the penalty, right?
Yes.
All right. What's next on the list now?
Because that's the exceptions to the penalty. I wanted to talk about the Roth IRA withdrawals because that's a little
Okay.
bit different.
All right. The first big difference is that's at 59 and a half. It's an age difference there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 401ks, the age is 65 when you can pull it out without penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Roth is 59 and a half,
Mm-hmm.
but you can pull it out, not be subject to the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
I did want to hit the Roth IRA withdrawal because those are handled a little bit differently, more because of the type of funds that they are. So, when when you have your Roth IRA, that's funded with after-tax dollars.
Right.
And in contrast to 401k,
A regular IRA.
regular IRA, that is funded pre-tax dollars. Okay. Because the Roth IRA is funded with after-tax dollars, you're not, well, for one thing, you do have the, what do we say, 59 and a half.
59 and a half is the age. And you're only paying taxes on the gains.
Earnings.
Yeah,
Correct.
the earnings, not the basis, not the money that you put in because it's after tax. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to clarify on this as well because I have run into situations with clients where they're thinking, I took 50,000 out, but it's a Roth, so I don't get taxed on it, right? And that's not a straightforward answer. We need to see what your basis was, and
Right.
if sometimes it's not really indicated.
But a lot of times they'll come in and they'll have the interest statement. And that's it. Only thing, we're not going to go through the portfolio
No.
and start calculating because we have the interest statement and we're just
If we
including the
have it,
interest.
yeah, so, right.
That's it. If we don't have it now, we got some questions.
Now we gotta go through
But
it.
a lot of times it's not like it was 15 years ago when we're attempting to figure all this out.
Man.
At this point, we just have them call their broker, send the
Send us-
statement, send us the interest
Send us the
statement. There it is.
documentation so we can be accurate without going through a whole
Yeah, because
lot.
ain't nobody got time for all that.
Not really. Really, not really. But we will ask the extra question for them to get that so that we can make sure that
Yeah.
we're all on the same page. But I have had to have the conversation with them that no, if some of that 50,000 was earnings, there's some gain.
There's some, there's
Yeah.
interest.
There's
There's
interest.
taxable interest.
Right. This is one of those situations where you want to be talking to your tax accountant and or maybe your broker, depending on who it is.
Yep.
You know.
So as you can see, Stacey has had some issues with this here because she's beating this one here up. Like,
I want to I'm touching on the things that were questioned / points / blind spots. Nothing is worse than sticker shock at tax time.
Oh God. So the funny thing here is the two different personalities. So partners are the same firm, and Stacey is extremely detailed. All right. Same way as you see her beating the hell out of this one line here with this interest income. Whereas I'll smooth over it a little bit. It's like, did you bring me the interest statement? Yeah, nay. That's it. But the funny thing is, Stacey has clients that loves this needling A through
Oh,
G.
what?
Oh my God. Whereas
Listen,
I
you're
gloss over
a yin
most and
and
I get
yang.
right to
Hey,
the point. A yin and
listen,
yang.
yin
Yes,
and yang.
that's it.
You have one style, I have another.
Yes.
Yes.
So with my folks, I gotta gloss over it, but still get to the end result. Still, we both get to accurate financials.
Mm-hmm.
But just to understand, I have clients that if let's just say take the almost year I was out because I had the car accident, they will literally sit through about 15 minutes of conversation with Stacey and be like, "Yeah, I'll wait till he gets out the hospital." I'll talk to Layton
You
in a
know,
year.
I
All
don't
right.
know if this is a male-female thing, but I will say
Mm-hmm.
that there were several of your clients that I met with the spouse, with the wife, and the wife was like,
Love that.
I really like that. And you were much more detailed.
Literally.
And I said, that can be a blessing or a curse.
That's it.
So,
And then the funny thing is, I remember years ago, it had to be almost 18 years ago,
mhm.
and I was in the office, and there was probably about a half dozen clients sitting in the waiting room because Stacey sits with clients for hours, whereas, mine, I'm in and out. But either way, I decided, let me just help this out. I'm gonna jump in this waiting room. I'm gonna grab a few of these people and just knock this out. And I go in there and I'm like, okay, I'm Layton. All right. I can take you. I can clean this up, get you done, go over your financials with you, get you set. Because Stacey's going to be a little bit. She's backlogged ridiculously. And they'll be sitting there, yeah, no, I'll just wait for Stacey. And I'm sitting there, I'm Layton. What do you mean you're going to wait for Stacey? And I'm sitting here, I'm Layton. And they're like, yeah, and I'm like, yo, hold on now. I didn't start this damn thing. What you mean, hold on? I'm the main man here. And they're like, we're going to wait and just talk to Stacey. And it's, oh my God.
I do remember you being slightly offended by that.
Completely offended by that. I was going to go back in my office and find some apples and throw it at their damn head. Mean you don't want to talk to Layton.
Oh my goodness. You're so funny. I certainly have had that experience when I tried to talk to your client.
Are you scared the
So,
shit out of them?
yeah,
They come back, oh, I talked to Stacey. I'm about to go to jail.
I never said that. Listen, you, like you said, you smooth over the little rough spot, the bumpy spots, the less
Don't
pleasant
worry
spots.
about it. When you get locked up, we'll come bail you out. That's how I smooth
I
it all
also
over.
think they should be a little more aware. I try to smooth a little bit more
Yeah,
with
I
your
got you.
clients.
I got you.
I try. I really do.
All right.
All right. So the other impact on withdrawing from your retirement early is it means you have less of it to use when it's actually time. Okay.
Mm,
So that is a thing. At some point, you are going to retire. So to the extent that you don't, you may have other options. You may want to consider that if you can. Again, this is my planning hat on.
yes.
So the other thing is for certain types of, if you have your 401k or it's a retirement plan through your job, you may be able to do a loan,
That's
which
true.
allows you to continue to pay back.
There's no taxable event with that.
Correct.
So
You
you
don't
take
have
out a loan.
no impact on your tax return because it's still considered a loan. Now,
It
we
has
have
to be paid back.
Mhm.
We normally see situations where people take out a loan, they take out 50, 60, 100, 150,000, whatever it might be,
Mhm.
and they change jobs before they're finished paying back the loan.
Correct.
And at that point, the unpaid amount becomes a taxable event.
Yeah.
So you have your penalty, you have your ordinary, it just happens.
So it's a full disbursement. It's
Yeah.
considered a disbursement. I think some employers will give you an opportunity, like a whole 30 days,
To pay
to
it back.
say, hey, if you don't, you have this loan amount out, you have this amount of time, let's say 30 days, to fully pay it back. Otherwise, we're going to issue you a 1099 and consider it a full disbursement. So most people
1099-R.
1099-R.
And
Yeah.
that's because Stacey has clients who are really nice clients. I don't think I ever heard of one of mine
Seriously?
having 30 days to pay back the
Oh,
loan.
yeah. Oh,
They probably show their ass when they're leaving so they can't come back home after the conversation. But that's true. Even with
They
us, with
do.
our staff,
Yeah.
yeah, if they were to leave and they pull that
Yeah.
they have, I think it's 45 days.
I can't remember the exact
Yeah, I
time
think it's
frame,
45.
and to be honest, I have yet to meet anyone who actually took them up on it.
That's true. Yep. No.
Yeah.
So what she's saying is she don't have any clients that paid the money back, so it
Yeah,
would
that
not become a taxable event.
correct. This was more of a just an alert that this is happening.
But the first point you made, which this is an impact on a retirement savings, that's a heavy point.
It is.
It's one of those things where, listen, if this is a hardship, you pull the money out because it's a hardship, you can't really do anything with that. It's a hardship.
Mhm.
But you do have to understand that now you have pushed your retirement age back possibly a little bit. And which is one of those, like I said, Stacey with the planning, this is her area. The goal was to retire somewhere around 62, 63. And now you'd pull 100, 200, 300,000 out of your retirement. And now that same goal, you either have to maximize for the future years, or for you to have that number you were looking for at retirement, you're going to be working until you're 67 or
Right.
68.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that's one of the harder things that we do see when we have our clients who they do retire, but they are still working
Mhm.
part-time or
Right.
3/4 of the time because they really cannot afford
To not.
to be on just their retirement because they had life
Right.
events happen. Oh, I
Right.
just brought down the whole mood. That's
No.
so sad.
That's
Oh.
not- No, what we're doing is giving you little nuggets to avoid certain pitfalls if you can.
Listen, you can't avoid that. You have life events happen.
Right.
You have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But now it's really, you're in this space where we're in Stacey's space right now, where you're talking tax planning going forward, tax mitigation
Mhm.
going forward, and how to make it so that, yeah, you're living now and you're taking care of your problems in your late 40s, early 50s,
Mhm.
but you also are addressing the whole, you wanted to retire at
How you're going
62.
to be set up for it.
All right, so let's talk about all of the exceptions.
We mentioned them earlier, but I just want to make sure that we're clear that there are some
Exceptions to the penalty.
that.
Exceptions to the penalty, people.
Thank you.
All right. Your ordinary taxes, you pull that 100, you have to pay ordinary taxes on it.
Mhm.
Okay. If it's 401k or your IRA, not the Roth, all right, because that's after tax. With 401k or the IRA, you will still have ordinary taxes, but exceptions to the penalty.
The
So,
penalty, which is the little extra 10% that gets added on. But hey, if there are exceptions so that you don't get hit with that, it's worth knowing.
yes.
All right.
All right. What do we got?
I have qualified medical expenses. We mentioned that earlier,
That's
but I
it.
think we were mentioning it in with other things. So I just wanted qualified medical.
And also, you got to remember qualified medical expenses, it's a Schedule A item. You still have the medical expenses that exceed the 7.5% of your adjusted gross income.
Right.
Okay. That was a mouthful, but understand 7.5% of your AGI. What's above that is if you have enough in medical expenses
Right.
that also equals the 10% penalty, then
The
that
same
is the
rule as it
exception.
is for the itemized deduction.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, because if it's not over 7.5%, it's a non-issue. Can't help you. Higher education expenses, if you're paying for that for yourself or your children,
Any of your
or
dependents?
grandchildren, dependents,
Dependents,
spouse.
yeah.
And this applies to the IRAs, both traditional and Roth, as well as your employer and sponsored
Okay,
retirement plan.
got it.
Okay. Some of these don't apply to all, so it's worth mentioning. All right. First time home purchase.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can withdraw up to $10,000 from your traditional IRA without incurring that 10% withdrawal penalty. Also applies to Roth IRAs. Okay. Does not apply to the 401k.
Does not apply to the 401k. Got it. All right. Outside of that, you have disability. If you become permanently disabled,
Yes.
that's an exception. Death, you knocked off. That's an exception there too.
Yeah.
But that's more for the
The
beneficiaries. Yes,
beneficiaries.
yes,
Yeah. So if
that.
there's some individuals, they've set up their retirement has whatever their children, let's say, as a beneficiary. And so they will get the funds
No 10% penalty.
and they will get the 1099-R. And when they file their taxes, they will pay taxes on the
Yes.
amount, the full amount, but not the 10%. Okay. So
All
that's
right.
it. I just wanted to
I think we've
brief
hit
over.
just about everything, right?
I think
What
that
else you
was
got?
it. That was it. I think we had traditional IRA versus Roth IRA. I think we've touched on
Yeah,
that a
we've hit
bit
that.
too.
We beat that up a little bit.
Yes, yes, yes. One
Um,
is it Roth IRA is after tax dollars, traditional IRA
yeah.
is pre-tax dollars.
So
So it's treated
I think we've
differently.
played around with the planning piece here
Mm-hmm.
a bit. One of the things that we do talk to the folks about when they coming in is, listen, how to get around the penalty and the taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And one
Mm-hmm.
is if you could take the loan out. All right. Now you're
Yes.
paying the loan back. There is no taxable event
Right.
with that. And
And you're replenishing your retirement account, ideally.
you have the strategic withdrawals that thing that you work on with folks, where strategic withdrawals, like I said, it just means you need to take out 50,000. And the goal is we're trying to keep you in the same tax bracket. So
That's
Stacey
close.
will come, yeah,
Yeah.
Stacey will come up with a number, take this out, this amount out this year. If it's not a true emergency, you don't need all of the money immediately. But if you could take out 15, 20, 21, whatever amount is, it'll
Mm-hmm.
still keep you in the same bracket. Then the beginning of next year, take out the rest that you need so that you are minimizing the tax liability.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the plans Stacey put together.
Yeah.
Outside of those two items, yeah,
I think we've hit all of it.
yeah.
So
I think when I have to think about it, like some of the examples of situations we had people that were in like, let's say the 22% tax bracket. That
mm-hmm.
just means you earn somewhere between 50 and 100. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they took out like 100,000 out of their retirement
Yeah.
plan. And from that 22 to that, you take out 100,000, you go from, you earn about 100, you take out 100, you're going to go from the 22 bracket directly to the 32 bracket.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is a humongous swing right there. That's where the tax planning piece where that Stacey does with these folks come in handy, because that's the sticker shock right there.
Yeah.
That's the sticker shock that you're sitting here right now and you just went from a 22% bracket to a 32% bracket.
Yeah.
That 10% that you took out means nothing.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't mean nothing. It is helpful, but you still got a nice clip that you're
It's
going
a
to pay
nut.
at the end.
It's a nut you have to deal with. Yeah.
So that's one of the things. The biggest takeaway I could say from this particular episode, 'cause I
Mm-hmm.
know we bounced around it a lot. I hope the information has been good to you guys. I wish we'd structured this episode a little differently, but the biggest thing that we could say is if you can plan on pulling that money, which means you can go to your financial professional ahead of time and say, hey, I have this happening. I have this hardship. How can I withdraw this money, fix this problem, but also minimize my tax obligation?
Right.
And then you can come up with a small plan to try to minimize the tax liability. That's if it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're taking this money out because you're doing something with it, you're doing an addition on a house. Okay. You already know you got the 10% penalty and you have the ordinary taxes,
Yeah.
but now you can maybe break this up into a couple fiscal years that you're taking the money out. You can have that new kitchen and patio put on at the end of the year instead of in May.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pull out some of the money in November, December, pay the contractors, and pull the rest out January 2nd to pay the balance off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now if this is a true hardship, death in the family, or tuition has to be paid in September, or the kid ain't going to school.
Those options may not be.
You get around the 10% penalty, but you can't deal with the ordinary tax
Right.
and maybe moving from one tax bracket to the next.
Yes.
So hopefully that made sense to you. Ah.
I think the key takeaway is to talk to your tax professional, your accountant ahead of time if at all possible.
That's it.
All
That's
right?
it.
Discuss your options before the close of that year. before you actually take the disbursement and see what you can do. Okay. It makes it, we have less options available after the close of the year, after you've done.
Yes.
That's been done.
After the close of the year, we're just going to be sitting here with you with a cigar and a glass, and we're going to tip it up to you and say, this is where we're at right now.
Right.
You got to live with the consequences
And we'll explain
of
pretty
choices.
much all of what we just said here today, or the part that's relevant to you. But there's not going to be a lot that we'll be able to do at that point.
That's it. So, as always, this information we're provided is to be used as general tax advice, not a substitute for a financial professional, tax attorney. You should check with your financial professionals. Make sure that the theories that we're putting out here matches, is in line with your particular situation.
Right.
If you want to ask us a question or you need some advice, you can always email us at info@cigarsandtaxes.com. I think I just started the outro without getting the official go-to from Stacey. So,
and I'm really glad that you could join us today. If you enjoyed this and you would, and you like some of what we were saying, and we'd love for you to make a comment below. Also, like us, follow us, subscribe.
Yes. All the buttons are below.
Yeah.
So we have the YouTube channel that will have this vlog playing. This is also a podcast. The audio will be on Apple, Spotify, and such.
Right.
Follow us on those different channels.
Yeah. And if you're
that's the old guy coming out. I didn't know what actually to call Apple, Spotify, Amazon. It's like those channels. But
in any case, make sure that you're following us so that you don't miss out on any of the episodes where we're discussing the tax tips, and we're basically
we're telling you how to pair a really good cigar with a very good beverage. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
This Long Live the Queen, outside of it exploding on me on the back end,
that's a big deal.
I'm also a biter. I bite my cigars. Some people, like Stacey, she does not.
No, I do not.
No, she just, her cigar is always perfect when she takes it out of her mouth. Shoot the hell up. But outside of it exploding on me, this has been a very good cigar mixed with this. I think this is a Triple Wood Balvenie 12.
Okay.
A very good experience. And I know you're loving that chocolate espresso martini with that bottom Betty kind of cigar.
I love all of those cigars.
All right.
All right.
Hey, listen, guys, it's been wonderful. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one. And until the next episode, take care.
Stay smoky.